You can take your oh, sorry. The recording's on. You can turn your camera off now if you want, John.
Hello
Okay,
and
I
welcome,
will.
everyone. Hope everybody is doing well today on this lovely Wednesday. My name is Julie Matusik, and I am a senior manager here at the National Family Support Network. I will be your moderator for today's webinar. And let's see here, a couple of things to mention. If you are joining online, you can listen directly through your computer speakers. And if you have joined via the phone number that Zoom provided, your line has been muted to minimize background noise. And for those of you that are online, you'll be able to access the chat to be able to say hello to your colleagues from across the country. Let's see here. And also want to mention too, we have the Q&A portion of the Zoom webinar here where we'll ask you to put any questions that you may have. And again, that chat is open. Feel free to say hi and such in that, but questions in the Q&A portion, please. And we do have live tech support here today. Felipe is here. If you have any technical issues, feel free to chat with him directly and he would be happy to help you. And also want to mention too, before we dive in, that today's PowerPoint, the handouts, and a recording of the webinar will be available on the NFSN website by this time tomorrow afternoon. And when you exit the webinar, an evaluation will automatically appear on your screen. And we really appreciate you taking the time to complete that. Your valuable feedback really helps to inform future webinars. So let's dive in. And before we dive in, want to ask you all to let us know where you're joining us from. So you'll see the link or see the map here on the screen and see how we've divided the United States into regions as well as its territories. And we also have on the poll, we have a couple other options as well there. So just let us know which region of the US you're joining us from or whether you're joining internationally today. All right, take just another moment and respond to that poll, and then we'll ask Felipe to close that out so we can see the results, and he'll click share so we'll all be able to look at them together. All right, let's take a look at those. All right, wonderful. Looks like Midwest is representing today. Half of you today are from the Midwest here to see your neighbors in Illinois. I love it. But also great representation from the Northeast, the South, and the West. Great, great. All right. Thank you all so much for responding to that poll. We have one other poll, which is your asking what your affiliation is, just getting a sense of who is here today and what you're up to in your role. Okay, so your affiliation, so maybe you're with a Family Resource Center or a Family Resource Center network like the Illinois Network, or maybe you're here as another family support program, a parent leader, early care and education. You have education. There's a couple different government options there and private funder. All right, let's see those results. Okay, so it looks like our strongest representation is from the government and family resource centers, education, private funders, and I see lots of folks are saying other. So feel free to put in the chat what your affiliation is just so we can get a sense of who's here today. And thank you all for joining us. So we are going to dive right in first with a little bit of context about the National Family Support Network. So the National Family Support Network was founded by eight states, 8 networks as a membership-based organization. And since then, we have quadrupled in size. We now have 41 member networks, so 40 states and the District of Columbia that represent more than 3,000 family resource centers that are serving more than 2 million people annually. Our newest members are Wyoming and Iowa that joined recently. So really excited to see the growth here. And the mission of the National Family Support Network is to promote positive outcomes for all children, families, and communities by leveraging the collective impact of state family resource center networks and championing quality family support and strengthening practices and policies. And our vision, in short, is that that whole map that you just saw, that the whole map would be green, ensuring that all families across the country have access to quality family support programs in their own communities that are provided by family resource centers that are supported by strong networks. All right, let's take a look at what we're going to be talking about together today. So here's our agenda. And so kicking off, of course, with a little introduction, making sure you have some of this foundational information we all need. And then we'll talk about Family Resource Center networks, and then you'll get the opportunity to hear from the Illinois Family Support Network. We'll close with sharing a few resources and opportunities that are available to you. And then there'll be an evaluation, which again will appear on your screen automatically when you exit today. So thanks in advance for taking the time to fill it out. All righty, let's talk about family resource centers. So thousands of family resource centers have emerged organically across the country, yet their existence is still largely under the radar as what we call America's best kept secret. And so this is a family resource center. A family resource center is a community or a school-based organization. A school-based welcoming hub of support, truly, and services and opportunities that are designed to support families to be strong and to be successful. So they may be community-based, like the image that you see on the left here, which is of a family resource center in Vermont, or they may be school-based, like the image that you see here on the right, which is from Kentucky. And so now we look one level up, and we have family resource centers, and then how those family resource centers are connected are through family resource center networks. So not only have cities and counties and states hit upon the value of family resource center, but they've also hit on the value of networking them together. So here you can see how we define a family resource center network. And this slide, you'll see some of the most common functions of a family resource center. They don't all do all of these pieces, but these are the most common that we see. This data comes to us from a study that we worked on with a research institute on. So the most common functions are that they increase connectedness, coordination, cooperation, collaboration amongst their members. So all of those key C words. And then they're providing training and technical assistance. They're working on advocacy, policy, and legislation. And they are providing and maintaining a shared data tracking system. And then we talk about family resource center networks in a couple of different ways. The first is the type of network. So the first type we'll talk about briefly is a volunteer coordinated network. So these networks are led directly by family resource center directors. And this is done in a voluntary capacity without paid network staff. So New Hampshire is an example of this. And then we have funder coordinated. So funder coordinated networks are led by a public department or a foundation that both funds and convenes the centers. So Nevada is an example of this. And then we have nonprofit coordinated networks. So a nonprofit entity is coordinating the work of the network by providing that backbone support with dedicated staffing. The nonprofit entity itself is not the network, but the nonprofit may incubate the network to spin off in the future, or it may continue to coordinate it. So that just depends how they develop. But North Carolina, Alaska, and Washington are all examples of this. And then we have the independent 501c3 organizations. So these are staffed nonprofit organizations that function as a membership alliance. So members are paying dues. And so these networks, they may choose to raise and distribute funds and function as an intermediary, or they may not. So Colorado and Maryland are both examples of this independent type of network. Okay. And one other way that we talk about networks is the stage of network development. So we talk about them developmentally in these three ways. So an emerging network is that birth to 3 years, they're just getting started. They're determining who's going to be at the table, what they want to focus on, all of that, those foundational pieces. And then the evolving networks, they are in that 3 to 5 year range typically. And so as they are further developing, they may hire a contractor or have their first staff. The network is really beginning to take some structure and some capacity to do more. And then established networks. Established networks have been around for typically around 5 years or more. And this is when networks are having staffing and having a track record of activities. So, one interesting characteristic of these networks is that they have weathered crises and decided to stick together. Okay, so that's our high level overview of networks. And I'm so excited to introduce to you our amazing team from Illinois. So today we'll hear from Julia and Tani with the Illinois Network. And we also have Kelsey will be sharing her experience from the program level in Illinois. So without further ado, Julia.
Hello, everybody. My name is Julia Monson, and I've been working with family advocacy centers, we call them that, since 2013, the end of 2013. So it's been a little while since we first started developing our network. So, and I'll be presenting today, of course, with Tani. And we are the Illinois Family Support Network. Next. So this is just an Illinois factoid for you all. Erie Neighborhood House, which hosts the Proyecto Cuídate Advocacy Center, was one of our first settlement houses. And they were actually part of the Chicago Federation, thank you, of settlement houses formed by Jane Addams in 1894. So this is their original site, which is still standing, and they just celebrated their 153rd birthday. So we're so proud to have them as part of our network. Thank you. So I'm gonna, this is our network. These are the three basic core services, core models, which is advocacy, mentorship, and community partnership. Our model is built on a coach recovery model. So there's a lot of advocacy, a lot of hand holding and things like that. And definitely we have a high commitment to have most of our centers be community-based agencies. Next. And so all advocacy centers provide certain basic supports, but we also have other advocacy centers that provide services according to the communities where they are. So that's one of the unique features of our program, that they don't all have to provide the same service apart from basic things. But we have immigrant refugee welcoming centers, we have English as a second language, we have after school programs, tutoring, summer day camps. They have food pantries, nutrition, and entrepreneur classes. And I'm sure it's kind of boring if I just read this whole list, but it gives you a really good idea of what these centers are doing. They're really diverse, like I said, according to the neighborhoods where they actually live. Part of our philosophy is for them to be community based, and so they might see like their particular advocate at a grocery store or somewhere else, and it makes it just a little bit different to be part of community. And we are the government, we're the Department of Children and Family Services, and so sometimes we have a somewhat adversarial relationship with the people that we serve, and this pretty much takes that away. So, and let's see. And I think that I'm going to switch over to Tani now. Tani's our second presenter, and she's going to give you a few more facts about the Illinois Support Network. Tani?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tawny Fletcher. I can't get my camera to work, so I apologize if I'm not on screen. I just transitioned from being the community-based child abuse grant lead manager to the actual working for the FAC, the Community Advocacy Centers, downstate and southern coordinator. So I'm looking forward to meeting all of the partners that are working as family advocacy centers. More on Illinois. Illinois has joined the National Family Support Network in 2020. And in that time, Illinois has 2 certified trainers in the standards of quality strengthening support that attended the Train the Trainer session. And we hope to look forward to adding more trainers as our network builds. The network here in Illinois offers biannual trainings that are the following organizational staff that make up the network are crisis nurseries, parents care and share programs at the Bright Point and family advocacy centers. Next slide, please. Currently, the standards trainings are offered biannually, as mentioned previously. And Illinois has 46 network members across the state. This is, again, family advocacy centers, crisis nurseries, and the Parents Care and Share program. We have trained over 145 members in the certified and are certified on the standards training. The Illinois Family Support Network is partially funded by the Community-Based Grant Abuse and Prevention Federal Grant, the CBCAP grant. The CBCAP program and the Family Advocacy Centers in Illinois are, as mentioned by Julia earlier, the Department of Children and Family Services. And the CBCAP program supports respite and crisis care, family support groups, fatherhood programs, parenting programs, Prevent Child Abuse Illinois, and trainings across the state on child abuse prevention and trauma. Next slide, please. As mentioned previously, there are 7 crisis nurseries located across the state of Illinois, and they provide, next slide, please, child abuse and prevention activities to children and families to strengthen families by providing emergency and respite child care for children 0 to 6 years of age. They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. Many of the crisis nurseries offer parenting programming, such as home visiting services and parenting support groups. They also provide services to families who are experiencing domestic violence, homelessness, job or emergency job or school emergency services. They provide any additional linkages and basic needs food pantries for children 0 to 6 with any needs that they're needing. They also provide parent coaching and early childhood developmental screenings. Next slide, please. And the Parents Care and Share Network, as we mentioned previously, is offered by our Bright Point provider within the state of Illinois, and they can help ease the stress and frustration that comes with raising children by, they offer support groups to families that take place in needing a break, and caregivers can peer share in a safe place to discuss difficult issues and learn from and give support to others. And during this, they offer time and space for families to learn, listen, understand, and encourage one another. Their program partners are within communities served across the state, mostly in the northern region and some in the central and southeast counties in Illinois. The groups are generally open to anyone and who is parenting such as a biological parent, grandparent, single parents, step parents, foster parents, or any relative or non-relative caregivers or parents who do not have custody. Some of the groups have specific type of parent programming, such for teen parents, parents with autistic children, adoptive parents, and there's no participation requirements. They just are there to have support of the peer group. And there are also parents across the state that have like the Bloomington Heart to Heart Parents Care and Share Group and the Chicago Lawndale Real Men, Real Dads Parents Care and Share Group. Next slide, please.
So the Crittenden Centers is very unique because they are a combination of both programs. They have a family advocacy center and they have a crisis nursery. And the crisis nursery was first. So when they became a family advocacy center as well, it was basically so that they could expand their services to help the parents in a greater way. And so, Julie, I guess you can introduce the next slide, please.
Absolutely. Very excited to introduce Kelsey from the Crittenden Centers.
Oh, welcome. I am Kelsey Seppage, and I'm pleased to join you today from Crittenden Centers, which is a nonprofit agency in Central Illinois. We are located in Peoria, and I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to share with you today about two of our core services. So I'm going to share my screen so that you can see my slides and share more about our services here. So as I said, we are in Peoria, Illinois. We have been in the community since 1892 with a mission of protecting and nurturing children and families. So two of the services that I get to share with you today are our Crisis Nursery and our Family Advocacy Center. So our Crisis Nursery has been in the community since 1980. We were the first crisis nursery in the state of Illinois, and there are currently 7. The nursery provides emergency child care for children birth to 6 years of age. That program's open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We also offer post-crisis services, which I'll detail more in the next slide. And then our Family Advocacy Center, which we have been able to serve those in our community since 2017 through advocacy, mentoring, support for families who are navigating the child welfare system. So our crisis nursery services are that emergency child care for children birth through 6 years of age. So we've had 3-day-old babies in our care all the way up until tomorrow's their 7th birthday. That program, like I said, is open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, providing that emergency child care as well as those post-crisis services. We have a hotline that provides support and referrals to families, as well as we serve individuals in person. So the post-crisis services that we offer, aside from that emergency child care, are support group and parent-child interaction group. Those are both offered monthly to anyone in the community that would like to participate in those, as well as home visits for families. We have staff on site who recognize that that emergency child care might be what led the family to utilizing our services, but there are often bigger things going on in the family, more situations in which support could be needed and beneficial. So home visits are provided, as well as parent education class. We do a ton of community referrals to other social service agencies and other supports within our community that might be helpful for families as well. And then we offer donations of basic need items. So for kiddos, especially those babies who might need some additional support of diapers, formula, wipes. We have clothing and bottles and things that are available as we receive them as donations. We then can give them out to individuals who need those. And then our Family Advocacy Center really partners with families in a very intentional and meaningful way. And they really walk hand in hand with families. through those core services of advocacy, mentoring, and referrals and support. So they assist and support families navigating the child welfare system and through those kind of case management requirements. We know that families are often given a list of things they need to accomplish in order to get their children back in their care or keep their children in their care. And sometimes they struggle to know how to navigate those. So that advocacy and really that one-on-one support is offered through our Family Advocacy Center, as well as mentoring, so assisting families with the development of short and long-term goals, as well as providing community resource referrals. So linking families with other community service agencies that could benefit them. And we recently had an expansion of the program in Tazewell County, which if you're familiar with our area, it's just about 20 minutes from where we are in Peoria, but it's across the river. And it is an area that's really hard to travel to and through, just based on how long it takes for people to get other places in the community via public transportation. So what would be a 20-minute car ride is an hour to an hour and a half on our public transit system. And there is a profound need for advocacy services for families in Tazewell County. So we're really thrilled and proud of that recent expansion to be able to serve those families in more meaningful ways. And then collaboration opportunities. There's a ton of collaboration that happens in our agency, but I'll just hit on kind of the largest kind of 3 areas and ways that we collaborate with each other through those 2 programs. So often referrals from the crisis nursery are made to our Family Advocacy Center for more intensive and personalized support for those families who are navigating the child welfare system, as well as referrals from our parent education classes to the Family Advocacy Center for that support and really that one-on-one attention and care. 90% of the families that utilize our parent education classes are court ordered to do so, and the majority of those families do not have their children in their care at that time. So they're navigating that system, doing everything that they can to be the best parents they can be and get their kiddos back into care. So we do a lot of referrals through that program, as well as the Family Advocacy Center refers families to the crisis nursery often for those basic need items for parents to take on visits with their young children, making sure that they are ready and equipped to have everything their kiddos need while they have those visits with them. So that is us in a very brief snippet of our crisis nursery and our Family Advocacy Center. My contact information is on the slide. If there's any way that we can partner or if I can answer any questions, please feel free to reach out in any way and I'll be happy to connect with you there. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much to Kelsey. And with that, we'll turn things back over to Julia here.
Oh, welcome. I am Kelsey.
Not Kelsey again. We would love to hear from her again, but
very so she did talk a lot about the work they do for reunification of families, but not to get the wrong idea, but they are also heavily involved in the community, and they have also a lot of clients or participants in their program that are not involved in the child welfare center, as the crisis nursery is basically a prevention program. So a lot of the people there are not involved with the system. So I just wanted to make that clear. So an advocate, what is an advocate? And I'd like to share the slide because we do so many different types of presentations, and sometimes a lot of people don't get our work, right? Why are we doing family support work? Why is family support work so important? This is like, and why should we spend money, on this? Well, because people need a helping hand, right? And so I use this slide kind of like remind people what our mission is when we're talking about family strengthening work and family support work. So we are the voice of people in the community to a greater, larger system, right? And we help them get through whatever they're going through, basic family needs, and getting people on their feet so they can become strong families and just even avoid any kind of involvement with the child welfare system, but or any other thing that they're going through. I mean, because we have people coming in because of school problems, or their kids are not doing well in school. I mean, it's all, it's more than just being involved with the child welfare system. It's about the community, and that's how we started out, being an advocate, a community advocate, someone who helps someone else, right, get through whatever they're going through, to champion a cause, to champion equal rights. And you'll see as we go along in the slides that that the state of Illinois is really committed to providing services in areas where people have been historically underserved, and inappropriate services uh, for their ethnicity, for their background, all of that. So you can go ahead, Julie, thanks. So we first began our program in 2004 in Bloomington, Illinois at the Family Resource Center. They were the first center. And so at that time, like I said, they were just designed to be community prevention. It wasn't really until later on that they started serving more families involved with the child welfare system. So now we have centers in across the state of Illinois. And added again the services for child welfare. So they can have up to a 50-50 split if there's a large need in their communities, or a large part of the communities involved with the child welfare system, then they'll focus more on that part of the population. Next. So this is where we are today. We have 38 family advocacy centers and 9 satellite offices around the state. And those are the shaded areas on the map. So the areas that are highlighted in yellow are where we want to go next. And the blue represents Parents Care and Share. You can see like in the name of the county, some of them are highlighted with a blue line and some of them are highlighted with a gray highlight. And so the blue highlight is the Parents Care and Share, and the gray highlight represents the crisis nurseries. So, but as you can see, the bulk of our network is made up of family advocacy centers, but these other preventative services are really key in the areas where you find them, because those areas were picked specifically for prevention, because they had a high rate of incidences of children coming into care in the state of Illinois. Next. So this is that was a graphic representation. This is and I don't know what happened to the slide, but it's not right. It's supposed to be 2 columns.
We'll get that fixed before it goes on the website.
So we could just skip over it, because it's really just a list of the family advocacy centers in the different regions as shown on the map. So diversity abounds, right? I mentioned that we have a high commitment to diversity and providing services in traditionally underserved areas. So where can you find a family advocacy center? You can find them anywhere in your neighborhood. So we have a family advocacy center in a government agency, a city center, a county medical center, a community youth center. They have had them attached to schools, not really based in your school, but they do outreach in the school to do parenting classes and other things there. You can find them in your neighborhood, like we have specifically Little Village, which is primary Mexican American, Chinatown, which is primarily Chinese American, Humboldt Park, which is primarily Puerto Rican, because Chicago is a city of neighborhoods, and so is the state. In central Illinois, well, Inglewood, which is primarily African American, and in central Illinois, there are parts of central Illinois, they have 64 language groups. And that is because that's like a refugee center where a lot of refugees and immigrants are sent when they first come in, because they come in as refugees and they're fleeing persecution. And so Central Illinois is very rural, so they have more space. So a lot of the people end up there. So next. So we have, oops. So we have some photos to share with you from some of the agencies that were mentioned on the slide. So this is Erie Neighborhood House. which we said was one of the oldest neighborhood settlement houses, right? So the first picture with a guy smiling, they're doing mental health outreach. And then in the next photo on the bottom, you can see these are some of the immigrants that have been flooding in Illinois, flooding Chicago, and they have these temporary shelters set up there. So Erie House and some of our other advocacy centers as well are doing outreach to these people coming in to help them, get settled, to help them understand the system here in the United States and everything that an immigrant really needs to know. And also then the picture on the right is the Spanish language protective factors workshop that Erie House is looking there in Spanish. Next. And so this is our brand new Midwest Asian American Health Association Family Advocacy Center in Chinatown. This was a huge thing because it's the first one servicing primarily Chinese Americans. It's just shows that commitment. We worked really hard. We worked several years to get this to find an agency and to get approval from everybody and the funding for this advocacy center. So this is just a picture of a whole bunch of people that were there at the press conference. And then on the right is just some outreach that they were doing at a public library, but also after they started the family advocacy program. So they have flyers there on the right front side of the table. That's actually an FAC flyer in English and in Chinese. So it's really cool. There's a lot of dignitaries in that picture. Grace House, she's the Deputy Director of Health and Human Services. They have the Director of DCFS was in some of these pictures. She's not in this one. They have state representatives, Lena Villanueva on the left, Teresa Ma, who's a state legislator. The girl all the way on the left is Ada Tong. She's the head of our Asian American Bureau. And the lady, that cute lady in the green there, kind of hunched over, she's the board president for the Midwest Health Association. And her last name is Lu. Don't ask me how to spell all of these names because I really don't know. The lady standing next to Ada is the director of MAHA, Dr. Hugh. And she is a wonderful woman and she just supports the Advocacy Center 100%. And so this is what we like to see with our agencies. Like they're already well established. They're in the community. They already have other programs for the community. They have a welcoming center. They have a navigator program. And so this was like such a perfect fit for any advocacy center. And it just made it so much more special because this is a population that has been so underserved in Illinois that that now, they have this for them. Next. And so on the left, the picture is really grainy, and I'm sorry. I think they were afraid to interrupt the class. They took the picture from far away. This is one of our newest centers in our first public health department. So Chinatown is a health alliance, and this is an actual county health department in Effingham, in the southern region of the state. So this is our first branch into healthcare services with family advocacy centers, and we're really excited about that. And then on the right is Martin Luther King Jr. Center. And they're actually part of the city of Rockford. And so that's one of the areas where they have 60 something language groups. And so, so it's very interesting. The services there in the whole area there is very interesting. And they're close to the border of Iowa as well. Next. And I think this is our last photo. Slide. So on the left, this is NIAP Center for Children and Adolescents. And so they're in the Puerto Rican community of Humboldt Park. And so on the left is like the big picture is domestic violence rally. So they had outreach there and they were reaching out to people there. And then the little inset is the program director at another outreach event. And then on the right, as you can see, that's from one of their youth programs. They went to visit a senior citizen home to bring them some holiday cheer and fun. And on the right, on the upper picture on the right, in the lower right-hand corner, there's like a brown table with Puerto Rican flag on it. I don't know if you can make your thing better, but that is like very typical. That's a very typical thing in Puerto Rico is a domino table where people sit and play dominoes and has built-in trays. That's like almost like a national pastime. When you think about old America, you think about the old people sitting on the porch playing checkers. Those are Puerto Rican checkers, dominoes. So it's kind of interesting that they had that there. All right, next. Oh, we did have another one. Sorry. So this is in Evanston. They are part of the city of Evanston, but Family Focus is one of our largest family advocacy centers. They have like 5 sites, 4 in Chicago, well, 3 in Chicago, 1 in Evanston, and 1 in Aurora, which is in the northern part of our state. So they just opened a brand new welcoming center there. And so they are reaching out to a lot of the recent immigrants that came out from Venezuela. But not only Venezuela, but there's also other people groups that are coming in from Romania and some other countries as well. So those welcoming centers are open to anyone, right, who's coming into the US for the first time. Next. I like that they have the flags. So this is a little recap, right, of the work that we've done and the number of people that we've seen. So basically, like I said, we see people involved in child welfare and also in the regular community. And when you look at it across the state, it is kind of like a 50-50 split, but some areas are more heavily one way or the other. It's all really according to the neighborhood where they are. And we have a really big commitment to neighborhoods. So we have the families and also the children, and they have a lot of children programs, but we look at them as families together, right? And then the bottom row is service hours, like how many hours of services are they expending to the community. And then currently we see that 98% of the families that are engaged with family advocacy centers remain intact without involvement with the child welfare system while they're involved in the program. Next. So this is a great thing that has happened in the last 3 years for family advocacy centers. So administrative support leads to expansion. So during fiscal year 21 and 22, all of our family advocacy centers received a 3% COLA increase. That is not totally unusual because that happens. But in 2023, the department obtained approval from the governor's office to continue strengthening community-based provider networks, and they made actual financial investments in staff salaries to help breach the gap between GCF salaries and community partner agencies. And so that was a huge, huge thing. So in the next bullet points, it tells you that 21 family advocacy centers received an average of a 15% increase in their contracts based on full-time employees and job descriptions. So that was huge. What we saw, a lot of times the community loses people working in smaller community agencies to larger government agencies because the salary and the benefits, but this was a huge boon to our family advocacy center providers because they were able to offer in staff raises, and now we didn't have before, but what we have now is a minimum salary range as well. So we instituted that with a 15% increase. So depending on your level of education and the job that you're doing in the family advocacy center, you're making more money now than you were before. So in fiscal year 2024, which is the fiscal year that we're in right now, the agency providers received a combination COLA and salary increase of 7.99%, of which it was approved really late in October, so they're getting a quarter of it in FY25. But this did not happen when we wrote this slide, but the governor also approved another increase in salaries. And so they're going to be getting another bump for in FY25. And this is like really great because it just lets them continue to attract, good employees, to keep their employees. Staff retention is such a big deal when we're talking about these community agencies and their rate of turnover. So it's a much more stable network now with these financial booms, right? It's just made an amazing difference. And when I go over their budgets and I look at their salaries, I'm just so amazed and so happy about because they do such a good job. Next. So where are we going next? So as Tani mentioned about the training, we have training biannually now, but it's really not enough because our network has grown since we've joined, because every year we've added different agencies, different providers. And so except during the pandemic, everything was kind of like frozen during that time. But the family advocacy centers during the pandemic, they were amazing. And so were the other programs in the network. And we had a special mandate from the governor to reach out to youth who had recently emancipated from DCFS to find out where they were. A lot of our family advocacy centers got community grants to provide emergency cash assistance as well. And so they didn't stop working during the pandemic. They were just out there and doing things, and it was really so I think that that's partly like one of the reasons why it was so easy for them to get more money now, because they've proven themselves and they've proven to do good work and to be resilient in the communities where they are. So these are our goals: to increase the number of trained staff and to fully implement and evaluate the use of the standards. So like I said, the program is growing, and 2 trainings a year is not enough to get everybody trained. And so it's kind of like stopped us from fully implementing the program across the board and across the network. So, and we want to develop shared methods of data collection and evaluation as well, because that always speaks to the legislatures and funding. We want to have an increase of collaboration with other state agencies and community partners that provide strengthening and support families in Illinois. The state of Illinois itself has committed to collaboration with community partners this year, and so we're seeing some of that. We have what's called a Blue Footprint for Transformation, where we are partnering with other state agencies and community partners so that we don't duplicate services and we can collaborate more and provide more of a wrap of services for families that need that in the community. So, and we're also in the process of collecting data to assess the needs in other parts of the state for family support services. As you saw, some of our yellow areas in the map, but there was like a big gap in the map too in the middle of the state. And so we're trying to collect data on those areas so that we're able to expand into those areas. I mean, it's like we instinctively know that there's need, but we have to provide numbers and show those numbers to the legislature to say, hey, this is what we have. What can you do for us, right? And up to this point, the legislature has been very responsive to us, and we're really, really grateful for that. Next. I think that, so this is our contact information. And as Tani said, she's now working for Family Advocacy Centers, and she is the coordinator for the Central and Southern region. And so, but since her knowledge is so recent with everything else, she's probably going to be our liaison to the other part of the program, and still be involved in planning the trainings and so on and so forth. So I'm sure that'll be online so you guys can get that. And I'm going to turn it back over to Julie. Thank you, Julie.
Thanks so much, Julia and Tani and Kelsey. Thank you all so much for presenting. It was great to learn about your wonderful work that you are doing in Illinois. And with that, want to make sure everyone has an opportunity to ask questions. I know everyone covered everything so well, but if you do have questions, be sure to enter those into the Q&A portion of the Zoom webinar platform. While you're formulating your questions, want to go ahead and share are some resources and opportunities that are available to you through the NFSN. So just a couple here to highlight, and then excited to hear what questions you all have. So let's dive into a couple of these real quick. So the first one is Family Resource Center resources. So we have, as you're, depending on, and we have a lot of family resource centers that are here today, networks, funders, in your different roles that you have, you may find some of these resources helpful. So if you go to nationalfamilysupportnetwork.org and hover over family support and drop down to the Family Resource Center page, you'll see all kinds of resources that you can access and leverage for free. So there's an FRC overview document, like a one-pager, if you're trying to explain to someone concisely what a family resource center is. We find that document so helpful. There's different videos, there's research reports that we had referenced, there's systems level funding information, just all kinds of information there. We also have the member network snapshot that you can access, and these are on, if you go to About Us, hover over that and drop down to Members, you'll be able to access the snapshots for our members on the interactive map, and then there's a compile document that you can download. And by within, I think it'll be within 2 months, so by the end of May, all of the snapshots will actually be updated with information from this fiscal year. So stay tuned for those to be launched as well. We have 2 hubs that you can access. So we have a Family Resource Center Learning Hub and a Family Resource Center Network Hub. So the FRC Learning Hub is a compilation of resources from those that are developing individual family resource centers. So this is for those developing family resource centers. So, and then the Network Hub, again, that level up, that backbone, this is for you at the network level. There's a compilation of both NFSN templates and documents from member networks such as Illinois that can be used as examples for FRC networks and for funders of FRCs. So encourage you to access both of those hubs. They're both available free. All of the resources are there. No charge, and really thankful to KC Family Programs for supporting the work and getting us started with this FRC Learning Hub. And Webinar Wednesdays in general, just want to make sure these stay on your radar, that they're an ongoing support to you. We have different, you can see here a screenshot of the website, the 8 different areas of the Webinar Wednesday library. And so such as today's wonderful webinar, like you'd be able to access this in the Family Resource Center network portion, and you'll be able to access other ones similar. So encourage you to poke around as you are able and really explore the great information that is in the library. Want to call out some of the ones that are coming up in April. We have next month we have 2 coming up. We're talking about family resource centers supporting parents and caregivers of teens, and the standards implementation work at the program level. So getting to hear from other programs like Kelsey's and all the work that they're doing, particularly with the standards. Just want to equip you all with as many tools as possible. So just want to share a couple of resources and services that are available too. So we can facilitate connections to NFSN member networks. So if you're in a state and there's already a network and you'd like to be introduced to them, please reach out to a member of the NFSN team and we'd be happy to help with that. We also are happy to present to key stakeholders. So educational leaders, child welfare leaders, children's trust funds, anyone that we can really help to have conversations with about working with and investing in family resource centers. We're happy to do that as well. We also are available to provide technical assistance for FRC network development. So reach out if you have questions. We have trainings available, and I'm actually going to highlight these on the next 2 slides. The first is the standards of quality for family strengthening and support. I know Julia, Tani, and Kelsey all covered a bit about the standards, but if you'd like to learn more, we invite you to participate in an upcoming certification training. And so we have some coming up the next couple of months. And depending on what state you're in, you may also have trainings that are offered that are state specific as well. So be sure to check that out on the website. And we also have the Developing and Sustaining Effective Parent Advisory Committee training. So this is training whether you're wanting to start a new parent advisory committee or wanting to strengthen an existing one. It is chock full of concrete tools for you. And so these do fill up quickly as well. So be sure to check it out and get registered if you are interested in this. This one is co-trained by a NFSN team member as well as an experienced national parent leader. All right, one other, let's see. So the National Forum, this is an interactive and free event. It's designed for everyone. So whether you're working at the national, state, or local systems, it'll provide an annual update on how the work is moving forward and talk all about networks. You'll get a chance to meet the different networks as well. So more than 600 people registered for last year's event, and 100% of folks rated it as really helpful as informing their work. So we're confident that it is a worthwhile experience for you. In conjunction with the program, you'll also be able to take a virtual tour of a family resource center as well. So keep an eye on registration for that. The Together for Families conference is coming up this fall, and this is kind of our big tent conference and is also for everyone. So whether you're at the program level, at a family resource center or similar program, whether you're at the network level, systems level, there's something for everyone, and encourage you to save these dates for participation. And we also currently we have launched the call for proposals, and you have an opportunity to submit to present and highlight your valuable work at the program or systems level at the conference. So the applications for this are due on April 11th. So if you visit the Together for Families website, you'll be able to access the call for proposal there as well. And one last save the date for you, if you want to snap a shot or anything of the slide. This is the Together for Families kickoff event. So this is on June 4th. And this is, we have this event to, it's offered in conjunction with early bird access to registration. So we launch registration in conjunction with this. And it's really a great opportunity to have a sneak peek at sessions. There's an opportunity to win some really great raffle prizes, and one of them being a complimentary conference registration. So registration information is coming soon, but if you want to block time on your calendar, we would love to see you there. And lastly, just want to share some exciting things coming down the pike, hot off the press, the NFSN trainings that are being, they're in the works and coming out at various stages of development. So the Connect with Effect outreach training, you'll be seeing this live on the website later this year. So watch out for that. Father engagement training. We have a FRC training where you'll be able to learn how to start a family resource center. And also there's more opportunities coming with the enhanced technical assistance offerings as well. So I know lots of tools for you to have in your tool belt. And with that, I'll put my contact information. And if you have any questions, please enter those in the Q&A portion of the website. I know Tani and Julia were so thorough today, and Kelsey, really appreciate their presenting. So if there's no questions, we'll credit that to thank you to them for being so thorough, and just so appreciative of their time, for sharing all the great work that they're doing in Illinois. And thank you all for being here to support them, and just really thankful for your participation. Julia
And
Tani,
Julie, yes,
anything?
I have a question, or actually a comment. I just wanted to a shout out to John Pedersen. He's participating today. He is actually the program monitor for our new Chinatown Family Advocacy Center. And he did a lot of work getting that thing going and providing technical assistance to on the ins and outs of running a family advocacy center. It was really good. So I'm just thanking
Awesome.
him for being here today.
Yes, yes, yeah. Round of applause for John. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So glad he could be here today. All right. Well, let's go ahead and give Julia and Tani and Kelsey a big round of applause. Thank you again so much again for presenting. Thank you to everyone that joined us today. As a reminder, a brief evaluation will appear on your screen when you exit the webinar. We really appreciate your feedback as it does help inform future webinars. All of our topics are planned around your helpful feedback. So appreciate you taking the time to complete that. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and thank you again, and goodbye.